Hey, it's Dustin, and this is day 3 of my NaNoWriMo writing series, where we are writing a 20,000 word novel together over the course of November and trying to spend an hour or less per day on it. So in the last video, we covered creating the whole plot outline for your book. If you haven't done that yet, you absolutely need to do that before we move on to the next step. So if you're not done that yet, take today and do that. Even go all the way through the weekend, and next week you can start back on this step, but you need to spend lots of time on your plotting and make sure that you've got a lot of your plot details worked out. But assuming that you've got your plot ready, we'll jump over into ChatGPT. You could create a new chat in ChatGPT to do this with, but I'm choosing to put it in the same chat that I did my whole outline prompt, just because there will be more information from ChatGPT to draw from, hopefully. There's pros and cons. It could also really screw ChatGPT up, or just as this document becomes super long, it might become unmanageable and make my browser not respond. I'm not sure. We'll run into that if it becomes an issue, but for now we're going to get started, and I will show you how the sausage is made when it comes to writing a novel using ChatGPT. So I'm going to take from my outline that I wrote in the last video, and then I spent the last 5 minutes or so crafting this prompt that I'm going to start with. So I just kind of repeated the very first thing that I said when I did the outline yesterday, because I want this information to be at the forefront of its knowledge. So I said, now that our outline is complete, it's time to start writing chapter 1 of this book together. As a reminder, you're a world-famous award-winning novelist. Your task is to help me co-write a 100% unique and brand new adventure novel, which is based in a high fantasy style world. Your goal is to have this amazing book become a New York Times bestseller. It needs to be an addictive page-turner that's so enthralling that the reader struggles to put it down. It's particularly important that this first chapter begins with a strong hook that immediately captures the reader's attention. The purpose of this chapter will be to establish the setting, dynamics, and conflict within the dwarven mining community, setting the stage for Hermes' desire and change for adventure. We'll show, not tell, Hermes' mundane and repetitive life in the dwarven mines, which is characterized by strict daily routine and drudgery. So this part you can just paste in. This part you're going to have to kind of wing it as far as what you want your chapter to start out with. And then this is all custom to my story, so you're going to have to think about... Well, actually, you're not going to have to think, because we've got our outline, right? So let's jump to that real quick. So I'm going to start out... Remember this is the basic outline I did, and this is the expanded version. So we're going to start off with him waking up before dawn in a small, dimly lit stone chamber that serves as his bedroom. So that's the only thing that we're doing in this first prompt. It's literally waking up and just kind of describing his room. So I said, start with Hermie waking up before dawn in a small, dimly lit stone chamber that serves as his bedroom in the mines. Describe the room in great detail, including sights, smells, sounds, feel, temperature, humidity, and other details. I highly recommend using the 5 senses. Basically, whenever you introduce a new scene, I like to do this. It gives a lot of detail about the place that they're in. Describe in great detail the process for how Hermie gets out of bed, what wakes him up. Dwarves have alarm clocks, or is there another dwarf ringing a bell in the halls to wake everyone up? How does he get up specifically? Does he yawn and stretch? Describe his appearance in great detail, including his shabby pajamas, dark red long hair and braided beard, stout and short figure, and other details. So that's going to be totally custom to me. I said this first section of chapter 1 should be 1,000 words long. Most likely, ChatGPT is not going to write 1,000 words here. It usually does like 200 to 400 words, but I find if you give it a big number, it tries to make it a bit longer. If I said 300 words, it's going to make it like 100 to 200 words. So I try and overdo it and see what it spits out. If it writes too much, I can always say continue and it'll keep going, right? So we'll do that. And to keep it from jumping on to the next plot point, I said, once you're done this section, I'll provide you with future prompts of what Hermie does next. But for this portion, only focus on describing the protagonist in his sleeping quarters and the very initial process of him getting up. At this point, he hasn't gotten dressed or anything else yet. Oh, sorry, I'm not even showing the window. It's back here is the rest of my prompt. You heard me read it out anyways. So I don't want it to even go on to this next point of him getting dressed. I want this to be like I want this to be like 300 words, then this is going to be 300 words. This is going to be 300 words. Because if you give ChatGPT all of this in one prompt, it's just going to write like 400 words on all of this. So kind of like the big hack, if you want it to write long chapters that are thousands of words long, is you've got to break it up into little subsections of what you want it to write. So that's what I'm doing. So I first want to get hundreds of words just of descriptions of him in his room. So that's the first step. And then we're going to do hundreds of words of him getting dressed after this. But let's run this and see what happens. I think you guys kind of want to see the whole process without editing, so I'm just going to go straight through here and look at everything that it does. Let's put that in for now. Okay, scroll to the bottom here through all that stuff. Maybe I should have given it like a little bit of a writer's voice that I wanted it to use. I don't know if this was great. Okay, so it starts off. In the heart of the towering dwarven mountain, where the world above seemed a distant dream, Hermes' day began as it always did. His small stone chamber, carved deep within the labyrinthine tunnels of the mind, lay enveloped in eternal darkness. It was a space just large enough for him to stretch his stout, muscular frame, but wide enough for his stocky shoulders. How does he wake up? Yeah, there's a bell. It took my suggestion about a bell in the hallway because dwarves don't have alarm clocks. I luckily realized that right before I put the prompt in. I was like, how is he going to wake up? He's in like a cave in darkness with no daylight or anything. Okay, so that's our description. Describes the room. Yawned. What? Okay, this is not what I want. So it's talking about a magical gem that caused a cave-in months ago. So it's pulling information that I haven't given it yet. So I think yeah, that's going to be a problem. So I think I'm going to start a new chat after all. So let's take this. And we're going to open a new chat. If I go back, is it going to save this chat? I'm not sure. Okay, so we're going to take that, but then I'm also going to have to give it my synopsis. Okay, so let's start the new chat. Oh, I'm doing this again where I'm covering it up. One sec. I'm going to have to like rephrase this. So give me 1 second. I can put something new together here. Okay, so this is the new prompt that I'm going to use. So I had to drop all reference to the outline because it can't read the outline anymore. We're still using GPT 3.5. Okay, so I did that same like, you're an award-winning novelist. We got to write a good book together. Then I pasted in my synopsis, which is like a description of the whole story for it to get like a general idea of what we're going for. So that's all of this here is just the quote that I pasted in. Then I said, I have an outline that I want you to work through with me, one plot point at a time. It's very important that you don't skip ahead or introduce any additional plot points without my instruction. Purpose of this chapter, that's the same. This start with him waking up in his bedroom, that's all the same. Should still be 1,000 words long. Okay, so let's do this now and see what it gives us. I'm probably gonna combine. I like the start of that first story, so we might still combine that, but we'll see what we get for this one. In the heart of the earth, beneath the rocks and soil, Hermes stirred before dawn in a small, dimly lit stone chamber. Prison of routine. This is too explicit. I said show, don't tell. Still right. We will show, not tell his mundane and repetitive life. And it's like he's got a prison of routine. So we're going to have to take that out in editing and make it less explicit. Okay, this is fine. Rhythmic pounding of a massive drum. I like that better than the bell. Look with that. Swung his legs over the side of the bed. Okay, so this is good. It didn't skip ahead at all. So I'm going to take this part that it gave me. We're going to open up a new open office document that I have saved on my desktop, which I called NaNoDraft. Okay, so I'm going to have to like switch which open office window it's using here. Okay, so I'm going to paste in that first example that it gave me. Make this a little smaller. Okay, so this is the one where it said stuff about magical gem and stuff that we gotta remove. We'll do that. Let's go back here. So this is the one that was in my outline. This is the revised one. So we're gonna take this and we'll say like V2, and then when I'm editing the depths of the routine, I like that as opposed to really bad day. Oh yeah, because now it's not going to take my generic titles from my outline, so that's actually a plus. So yeah, when I edit, now I'm going to have to take what I like the best of this. Like I like this in the heart of the towering dwarven mountains part, so I'm going to like combine that with some of this. So I kind of pick and choose which of those two I like better. So that is, we'll say, let's look at this. So this is 534 words for our first little section there. And then we're going to jump back over to our outline. Oh, this is difficult to do on the fly. Okay. So in all that work, what has it been, 15 minutes so far, we had him wake up in his room. And we said all that stuff. Now we're going to do this next part. So I will say... Oh. Great, let's continue writing the next section of this chapter. This section should be words long. I'm going to explicitly say, remember, the point of this section is only to describe what his outfit looks like in great detail. Remember that we are working through one plot point at a time. It's very important that you don't skip ahead or introduce any additional plot points without my instruction. And then I'll add this again. And I'll tell it what to do here. So I'll say describe Hermie getting dressed in his mining gear, which consists of a sturdy leather outfit, helmet with a lantern. Lantern. The lantern uses oil that he'll need to refill before he heads out for his shift. Need to refill now before he heads out for his shift. Okay, and then we will paste in this section from the last prompt that says, once you're done this section, I'll provide you with future prompts about what Hermione does next. But for this potion, only focus on describing the protagonist getting dressed and filling his helmet's lantern fuel. Okay, so if you jump over to the document here, so we're going to get him to get dressed. And then I'm going to put another stop on it that explicitly says he does not leave his room yet during this section. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we continue writing. We got to work through this one plot point at a time. I tell it what I want it to do. So you would put your own custom details in here. And then I say, once you're done this section, I'll give you more prompts. And I say, I only want him to do this. Don't have him do anything past this point. So we're going to go. Might be getting an error here. No, there it goes. Okay, with a deep breath, he tore himself away from his bed. Good. Put on his leather trousers, stepped in one leg at a time, put on his tunic. Okay, his helmet. Placed it on his head. He had to fill the lantern with fuel. Okay, he did that. He lit the helmet up. So something that ChatGPT also does is it's like as he contemplated his next move, he couldn't help but feel the weight of routine pressing down on him. So pretty much the last paragraph you're always going to throw out because it kind of like does this weird summarizing thing. And then this one, yeah, as he stood in his well-worn mining gear, he couldn't help but wonder if there was more to the world beyond the cavernous depths. So I might leave in like one of these, but I'm not going to do it every single section of the prompt that I do. So I'm going to take this. This all looks good. We're going to paste that into our draft document. I'm not going to bother showing you that. I'll leave like some gaps in between so that I know. Actually, I'll show you. Bloop, bloop. Draft. So between like the first section and the second section, I like to leave this so that I know that this is like distinct instructions where I gave ChatGPT a different thing to write. Okay, so we'll go back to where's the other one? Outline. Okay, so then I kind of like highlight these as I go so that I know that I did them. Okay, so the next thing is breakfast is a simple meal of crusty bread, hard cheese and water eaten in a communal dining area with his fellow miners. I'm not sure about that. I kind of want to introduce his Uncle Thrain and have him eat, and they'll have a little bit of dialogue here instead of like a communal thing. So let's do that. Okay, so we're going to say breakfast is a simple meal of crusty bread. But first I have to say Great, let's continue writing the next section of this chapter. It should be 1,000 words long. The point of this section is only to describe. So I can take all of this. It's only to describe me eating breakfast. Remember that we're working through one point at a time. Describe the kitchen. Yeah, it's like kitchen for right now. Once you're done this section, Okay, so we're gonna take meal is crusty bread, hard cheese, and water. And then I also want to introduce Uncle Thrain. That, and then we will write a prompt using that information. Describe the kitchen or dining. Describe Hermie walking from his bedroom to the kitchen or dining area where he eats breakfast. Describe the dining area in great detail, including sight, smells, touch, taste. Which one am I missing? Sight, smell, touch, taste, and feel. He sits down. Do I want the stools to be made of wood or stone? Probably like everything is stone, right? A hard stone stool at a granite table to eat. Breakfast is already laid out. It's a simple meal of crusty bread, hard cheese, and water. Already sitting at the table is Uncle Thrain, older dwarf, who's like a father figure. Hermie and worries about his safety in the dangerous mines. Includes dialogue of between Thrain and Hermie. It shouldn't be anything too detailed or dramatic. Just small talk about their days and other detail of their lives, with Hermie complaining about how repetitive and boring his work is. Once you're done this section, I'll provide future prompts of what Hermes does next, but for this portion, only focus on describing the protagonist eating breakfast and talking with Thrain. He doesn't leave the table yet during this section of the chapter. What are we going to do in the next section? We are going to move on to him heading to the mine shaft, so that's fine. We can end this section at the table. I'm just highlighting this one to say that I've done it. We're going to run this prompt. This is actually going to be really long. So if each of these is 500 words, or like 5, 10, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. Okay, we're going to describe these guys when he heads to work. Yeah, but I think this chapter is going to be like more than 5,000 words by the looks of it. But let's run this prompt. I don't know if you guys need to see me do every single one of these, but we'll go through a couple more and then I might cut it off. Almost about half an hour now. Let's continue writing the next section of the chapter. This should be 1,000 words long. Okay, let's do that. Lantern's flame casting a glow around him. He made it to the communal kitchen and dining area. Cozy space carved of rock, settled on a hard stool, sat across from his Uncle Thrain. Said Thrain inside, his voice tinged with frustration. Another day in the mines, Uncle. It feels like the same day over and over again, doesn't it? Noted. So we got some good dialogue in there. Dreams are important. They keep us going even in the darkest of times. But remember, not all that glitters is gold. The world above can be just as treacherous as it is wondrous. Remy couldn't help but feel that today was different. The flickering lantern flame gave him a beacon of hope and change. So that's what I'm saying about, like, you got to take out this last paragraph on pretty much every prompt that you do. So if you ask for, like, however many hundred words, like 50 of it's going to be garbage. So we'll take this and paste that into my draft document. Okay. So that is 2,381 words written in half an hour. Obviously, you don't have to make your chapters as detailed as this. Remember yesterday that I said, like, you could be as detailed or not detailed as you want to. So, like, if you put in just this and get 500 words, and then this in 500 words, this get another 500 words, and this get another 500 words, that's already, like, going to be 2,000 words for your chapter 1. Obviously, it's not going to have these very specific descriptions and details that I'm putting into my story about, like, what his room looks like, specific conversations about breakfast, and exactly what he's wearing. But, yeah. Depends how long you want your story to be. If we're just going for, like, a 20,000 word story, you might want to just give it, like, 4 plot points per chapter. But I'm going to apparently feed all of this in because I'm a masochist. So we're going to do that. So today is Friday. Tomorrow's the weekend. I am not planning on having videos on the weekends. I'm going to give you guys those days off because I assume that you're cool and popular. Because somebody that would watch my videos must be cool and popular, right? You're probably busy on your weekend doing stuff. You don't want to be writing. So we're not going to have any writing on the weekends. It's just going to be a Monday to Friday thing. If you want to get ahead, or if you want to write more than 20,000 words, you're welcome to just keep following this structure for the whole chapter and then do it for the next chapter. Pretty much every video is going to be the same now, so I don't know if maybe I'm just going to do, like, quick edits or time lapses of every chapter that I do from here on out. But we'll see. But yeah, just kind of work through one plot point at a time, feed it in. Don't give ChatGPT too much information, because if it tries to write, like, more than 500 words at once, it starts cutting stuff off and losing information, so that's not good. But yeah, take the weekend off or continue writing. If you had to take 2 or 3 days to work on creating a big outline, then maybe you want to spend one day on the weekend just getting caught back up on chapter 1. But other than that, I will be back Monday where we do chapter 2, and then we're going to go through all of this outline and turn that into a brand new chapter as well. So I will see you then.